Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement and another She-Hulk quick hitter for She-Hulk episode 5. I think this one is called Mean Green and Straight Poured Into These Jeans. So it is funny that the two of us are the ones sitting here recapping it, but it was another good episode of She-Hulk. It was another delightful watch. I would say this was the worst episode yet, but that's not necessarily like a bad thing. I still enjoyed it. It just didn't have that cameo flavor on this one. It was a more straightforward court show.
That's what it was. We were talking before we went live, and we were saying like I don't have a ton of notes. To be honest, I texted you. I said I had trouble like keeping a focus during it, and I don't know if I think it was after the upfronts, right? So I didn't know if I was just tired or work's been crazy, all that kind of stuff, and I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, I'm getting old. I'm an old asshole, and I think it was also just like not a ton of action. It was a lot of stuff going on in court. Titania doesn't do it for me really as a villain. She does it for me as like, I hate this bitch so goddamn much because she reminds me of real life influencers, right? But in terms of like, she doesn't grab you and be like, oh man, this villain, I hate her. I feel some sort of way. I was just like, we kind of just got it done with. But it had the same subtle things that, made me laugh. So it had the She-Hulk. It changes from like attorney at law and it says, presented by Titania.
That
It's
was
just
good.
little touches like that. They've done that the whole series from attorney at law to attorney for hire. They had that when she got fired. So it's just I like a sweeping statement I'll make is I want more Marvel shows to be like this, just very easy, light, and just know what they are, just like fun shit that kind of progresses the story and I think or the universe. And I think we'll talk about it. I think the big thing to take away from this is like there are potentially some absolutely massive Easter eggs at the end here.
Yeah, there were in the credit sequence. And
Yeah.
you did mention that this episode came out right after Barstool Upfronts. I went to Las Vegas right afterwards, so apologies for being late on this. But we've been kind of all over the place this week, and I'm doing Ocean's Calling next week with Pup Punk. It's just been craziness. Andor comes out on Wednesday, so we're gonna have to work that into the schedule as well. But we're not going to trail off on this like we trailed off on Ms. Marvel. We're going
Good
to
call,
continue
Bob.
with it.
That's a great call on the apology, too. You had the upfronts where you performed. Then you went to Vegas. I had bars to the ballpark on Saturday night. I went to the Giants game on Sunday, tailgated the whole nine. Then we had House of the Dragon. I was home for like 45 minutes, watched House of the Dragon, then just right on. First world fucking work problems, yes. But it's just hard to get like an hour to get everyone's schedule. You were like, you passed out after the, you got back on the red eye. So it's just, we're our bodies are shot right now, but it deserves the recaps. That's definitely the case. And I think someone tweeted us like, you guys are going to give Andor the love. I will give Andor the love. I will go in with an open mind. Ken Jack texted me two things. One was he said he initially started off saying that there's a moment in I think episode 4 that he's like, I'm gonna love. He's like, it's nothing, no spoilers or anything, but it's just something that apparently like a niche thing that I'll love. And then two was I was like, how is it? And he said something like the best. I don't remember the exact quote. I don't want to put something.
Best Star Wars since Empire. I feel like every time something comes out, someone says that.
Exactly.
Ken Jack did not say that. That's not a direct quote from him.
He did say something like it was one of the better.
He told me it's really fucking good.
It's really
and I think the way we're gonna do it too. I was thinking with Obi-Wan, we went and watched one episode and then we recapped it, and then we watched the second, and then we recapped it. Ken Jack said the first 3 that come out this Wednesday are all part of one story arc, and then the fourth kind of begins a new thing. So I think we're just going to do one general episode recapping 1, 2, and 3. If it's one story arc, I think they're all around 30, 35 minutes. I think that's the best way to do it.
Can we do this? Can we do a short on the My Mom's Basement YouTube and say Barstool employee says Andor is the best piece of Star Wars content since Empire Strikes Back, and just
put Ken Jack's mugshot?
Yes, exactly. His exact quotes, and I know this is the She-Hulk thing. There are nerds that do not care about the other universes. His quote was, "It rocks out loud like Mandalorian, except spycraft / criminal stuff." That's highest of high praise because Mando is the gold standard for any new Star Wars stuff. It's basically the only standard that isn't shit for the new Star Wars stuff. But nonetheless, that is some high praise from our boy Ken Jack.
Yeah, and Ken Jack is fair. He's critical of the stuff that deserves criticism. He's not a Robbie Fox where some people say I'm too positive about everything. Ken Jack is like a fair critic. So I do take that with high praise from Ken
Yeah.
Jack.
Yeah. He has
Now let's
the real Star Wars nerd in him that will flame something if it deserves to be flamed.
Oh yeah. Let's get into She-Hulk. This was the shortest episode of She-Hulk yet. I think it was under 30 minutes, and it focuses on that cease and desist lawsuit, Titania and Jennifer Walters over the name She-Hulk. And there's a funny like makeup ad in the beginning. Titania has turned She-Hulk into a makeup brand for strength and beauty and whatnot. And as you mentioned, the title sequence kind of goes over and into that Titania-esque design. Jen confronts her at a signing and is like, "Hey, what's going on here? You can't be doing this. You're a snake oil salesman, basically." I think she calls her that to her face, and she's like, I trademarked it first. You didn't care about the name. You only care about the name after it became a popular thing with me," which is such a motherfucker thing to
It's
say.
such a
Like,
motherfucker.
come on. They do a quick cutaway where Pug, one of the law attorney guys, goes and asks Nikki to stand in line with him to pick up the new Iron Man 3s, which we saw a little ad for, which also made me think, okay, we saw an ad for that, and then they brought it into the show. What was right underneath that ad? It was the Wolverine thing. So
Yes.
if we're going back to that, these are seeds that are growing right now. These seeds are growing. So I think that's important to note.
There's a lot of stuff growing on me. There's one thing growing on me when I see Wolverine stuff every goddamn episode, and it's not seeds. You know what? I guess seeds come out. Okay, let's just call it what it is. She-Hulk is a horny show. It is a low-key horny show.
No, high key.
High key.
I mean, she fucked last week. Come on.
She fucked last week. What was the name of the episode? Spilled into
Mean Green poured into these jeans.
I mean, that there you have it right there. And then her dating profile said must have a strong back and a strong bed. Bitch is looking to fuck, and I am here for it.
Yeah.
Do the kids say I'm here for it still, Bob?
Definitely.
Okay,
oh, yeah. You sounded super hip when you said that. Yeah. And we learn about the drip broker. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we had the power broker. Here we have the drip broker. And the drip broker is Griffin something. Griffin, I actually have the IMDb. I could get his name up. Griffin Matthews. He is in a show called The Flight Attendant on HBO Max, and he's very good in that show. So I was happy to see him. I didn't know he was in this show. And he is basically the Edna Mode of the Marvel Universe, which is one of the greatest Pixar characters ever created. So I'm excited to see more of him. They want him to create a costume for Jennifer. He's not into it. They tell him, hey, she's an Avenger. He's like, okay, I'll take a meeting. And then he kind of is into the challenge of making something that can grow to the She-Hulk body, but also fit Jennifer.
Yeah, I like that. This guy feels like he's going to be sticking around. I could see that when we lost Tony, we lost the guy that has the cool shit and the costumes and stuff. This feels like our new, what's his name? The drip broker. The drip broker. I mean, what a name. That's incredible. I never noticed stuff like this. I was looking into like the rooms and I was like, that is some great wallpaper he has in there.
Oh, yeah. Noticing the wallpaper. Look at that. And he's like in like a boba tea spot too. They had to go in and, get past the guy at the front register. He was also selling counterfeit Avengers merch, Avengers and Avengers, which that is going to be on sale at Avengers Campus, like probably is already on Disney. Where it's
kind of fucked up. We're not selling Avengers stuff right now that I think about it. Like, would we have been able to get away with that?
It's like the true counterfeit. Yeah, it has a purple Hulk on it. I want an Avengers shirt, so we should be selling it because that is the stuff that nerds would want. And She-Hulk is assigned Mallory Book as her attorney in this Titania case. Mallory Book, possible sus list, because from what I understand, she has a comic book history with She-Hulk and whatnot. So I think possible sus list there. And she's also an actress from Hamilton, and I want to pull this up for you. That's me and Mallory right there. So don't put me on the sus list, but that's us.
Bob, telling me not to put you on the sus list as you pose with the person that is number one potentially on the sus list is the easiest way to the sus list. And look at that fresh-faced Bob Fox. That is a baby right there. What year is that? What year are we looking at right there?
This is 2016, June 9th, 2016.
So that is probably early Barstool, or is that pre-Barstool for you?
Pre-Barstool. This was... Man. Barstool was October 2016, so this is just a couple months beforehand.
That is the face of a boy who has not been corrupted by the inner workings. You were corrupted by the outer workings of Barstool as a reader, listener, etc. But the inner workings that had not corrupted it, you can see it, the life in those eyes right there.
Yeah, and they have a funny bit where she's like, "How come Doctor Strange and Thor don't have this issue?" And she's like, "That's their real name. You just pick two people that use their real names, so no." I thought that was one of the funnier moments in the episode. And Titania in court plays clips of Jennifer saying she hates the She-Hulk name. This isn't even my name. I didn't come up with it. In return, Mallory plays the news interview where she kind of accepts it. It was like a half acceptance, though. Even when she played it, I was like, oh, this is going to win us the case here? Like, she's like, it's not my name, but you know what? It stuck. And they were like, yeah, you win.
The whole, like, the importance of the case and all this stuff, I was like, what are we even working towards here? I feel like they just wanted to introduce the drip broker, and they're like, how do we just throw? I feel like the B story was the real A story, and the A story was the real B story here.
The B story was more enjoyable than the A story, and I don't say that to shit on She-Hulk or whatever, but like the Pug Nikki thing was very funny. They had a lot of funny lines in that, so I'd like to see more of them in this series, actually.
Yeah, me too. And like you said, the courts, when they're in the court, my eyes usually just glaze over. They throw.
Also, I forgot to mention, I guess the news interview wasn't the only thing. It was the ex-boyfriends. They came in and they were like, yeah, she created the dating profile as She-Hulk. So
that fucking pediatric doctor, the oncologist and stuff like that coming back, breaking our hearts. I'll be honest with you. I just feel fucking bad for poor Jen Walters, man. She just takes so many ricochet shots every goddamn episode. And I'm going to say now, I'm a married man. My wife's upstairs, so I'm not going to say it too loud. I'd give her a whirl. I take her out on a nice date. I pay for the bill. I wouldn't be waiting for her to pay or go Dutch on it. I pay for the bill. I maybe ask for, hope for a kiss goodnight, and we go from there. I am usually intimidated being around people that are smarter than me. Not women, people in general. That's why I work at Barstool. There's not a lot of us here. We're all basically the same idiots. But I just hope Jen finds somebody in the long term. And I'll tell you, she's ready for it. Because it's a lot of this stuff is She-Hulk. Jen's a horny girl too. There's a lot of hornies in this show. And
for the thumbnail, give me like you're in love, and I'm gonna put I'll put hearts over your eyes, and then I'll go.
This is my favorite part of every episode where we create our thumbnail live on the show.
Part of the ex-boyfriend parade that came in for Jen was Todd, this absolute asshole who is like a rich guy that mentioned in his date, like, oh, do you have like what pierces your skin or whatever? It's been pointed out by a bunch of people. I saw a TikTok about it actually, that his voice is very similar to one of the maxed people that attacked her was trying to get the blood. So people think maybe Todd is working for Kingpin or Titania or the Power Broker or whoever the fuck is trying to get her blood. Todd may be part of that. And then bringing Todd back, I feel like could maybe give that away.
The biggest revelation of this entire podcast for me is that we have people that are that diehard that they're going back and looking up voices. That used to be a Star Wars thing. Obviously, we did it when we found out Boba was a Mando because of the spurs his boots made in Empire Strikes Back. That's the kind of like level, like audio detection. And that was like during like pandemic days where no one else had anything better to do. People are out living their lives. Yeah, we have people who are voice matching. Shout out to you guys who are the ones who make the internet go around, baby.
And then the thing that got everyone talking, this was the most talked about moment of the episode, was the ending where they're like, hey, why don't you put that away? Like patient confidentiality or whatever for the drip broker. And we see what they're asking to be put away is Daredevil's helmet. We see they put it away, the horns, they focus in on it, and credits hit. There was no post-credit scene in this one, which I thought was weird. I thought every episode was supposed to have a post-credit scene. None this week, but this was kind of like a post-credit scene. Cool. Daredevil's coming next week.
Daredevil's coming next week. I don't know enough about Daredevil to know what the yellow suit means. I bet Jose came himself. If he saw it.
That was his OG suit, I think, in the comics.
Oh, really?
One of the OG suits. There are pictures of it. I think it looks cool. I saw some people shitting on it. I think it works because this version of Daredevil is going to be a little more lighthearted because of the nature of the show. So why not lighten up the suit a little bit? And then this is your perfect opportunity to work that comic book reference in.
Yep. And like you said, we're going to get some Daredevil. It was the perfect way to kind of leave you, excited, waiting for the next one. And like, again, and Jen Walters will say it too. She's like, "Yep, this is my show. It's not anyone else. This is not a cameo show." And then we're just getting cameos every single week.
We're like, next week, the Daredevil episode.
Yeah,
you could replace She-Hulk, the Thing, with like Daredevil's back in the beginning.
I guess it's better than being Boba Fett, where you just had a guy just straight up take over your show for 2 weeks, and it just became The Mandalorian. So it's at least She-Hulk gets to stay in her own show. So,
and to stay on track with the Marvel Star Wars references, I actually saw a story this week that Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil, Matt Murdock, had an audition for Solo, a Star Wars story, and he blew his audition because he could not stop acting blind. He said he was staring past his co-star, and the director was like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's like, "I snapped back into Matt Murdock and just started acting blind, like I couldn't see." And they were like, "Well, yeah, don't do that in other movies, dude.
Just stop doing that, man. Just stop doing that." We also got the Shrek reference, which again, everyone
that was good.
Who's been upset or calling her Fiona, whatever it may be, we got our Shrek reference. So,
and then in the credits, we got a cool painting of the credits are great, by the way. Every Marvel show's had great credits. These ones are always cool, like watercolor paintings. We got a painting of Pug holding the Iron Man 3s, which he had a whole collection of in the back. Not just Iron Man's, but there was the one that was the Thing. There was one that was Deadpool. There was Spider-Man. Tons of them. Oh, here, we could pull it up right now.
Look at that, Bob. There it is. Thing confirmed. Magneto confirmed. Wolverine confirmed. Cyclops confirmed. They're all confirmed. I swear to God, Feige, if you Ralph Boner me with this goddamn painting right here of shoes, and you're like, "Oh, it was just a coincidence that all these guys look, half of these shoes look exactly like the superheroes that you want to see most, but haven't seen yet." We got Deadpool just chilling on the goddamn wall, looking me right into the face.
Is this the soft launch of the Marvel shoe line too? Because, oh my God, they're burning money by not making these shoes.
Maybe they can lower the Disney prices down a little if they can sell all these Marvel sneakers. Who would you get if you could get one shoe? Not Captain America. I won't get Iron Man. We'll go with that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you got to think color schemes too, because I'm a Captain America guy, but would I wear big red, white, and blue shoes? No, that's not really me. So, like, as far as my style goes, you know who I think would have cool ass shoes?
Who?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man shoes could be
like red, black, and gray. I mean, it's what I'm wearing right now.
That's what I was going to say. I could see you in like the Deadpools too, right?
Yeah,
the red and black,
same Deadpools
kind of
are pretty sick. I'm trying to think who else in the Marvel universe has like a really sick color scheme. You know who might have cool ones? Star-Lord, maybe like a maroon, kind of like his jacket.
Yep. I love my dude. You have to really, it's hard to pull off purple, but the Thanos ones would be kind of fresh.
Yeah.
And you have the Infinity Stones, so you're kind of hitting all those different colors as well. But I feel like Thanos he's just been so everywhere. It wouldn't even feel like a new shoe because you'd be like, "Oh, you bought those 3 years ago." It's like, no, these are part of the new Marvel collection. I want to see what Kang gives us. I want to see what kind of colors he had, the purples and the greens and stuff like that. And then for me, there's two Wolvies, right? There's the yellow and brown Wolverine, and then there's the yellow and blue Wolverine. And I think I'm more of a yellow and blue because I grew up with him, even though I love the brown one as well. But I don't know if I could pull off like yellow on a shoe. I'm a pretty we're both, I think, pretty quiet, neutral guys when it comes to like our clothes. Yellow in a shoe is very tough to pull off. I'm kind of like you, black, white, and then maybe a little bit of blue for me personally. So
I was gonna say, speaking of blue, my guy Korg would probably have a cool shoe because that's also like a powder blue, like it's a cool color he's got.
Good call. Breaking news on the podcast. Watched Love and Thunder with the kids. Two things. Watched Love and Thunder with the kids, I think, last week. Number one, for me personally, did not age well. It was worse on the second viewing than the first viewing. I watched it. We liked it a lot, right? I think we had it below Ragnarok, which I watched again recently, and it's better.
It's definitely below Ragnarok.
Definitely, but we said it was definitely above Thor 1 and 2, and I still think that's the case.
Yeah.
But from my vantage point, when I watched it in the theater, I was like, this is fun, blah, blah, blah. We're having a good time. It was a good movie. And if anything, they could have made it longer, right? Because they could have more Jane and more gore. When I watched the second time, it's a lot sillier than I realized. Maybe because, my brain is taking in the movie the first time. I watched it the second time. Like, it almost felt like a kid's movie. Now, my kids Loved it. So I do think it might have been more of a kid's movie than I realized at the time. But the best part of this all, Bob, both my kids ask for Guns N' Roses now. They're like, can we listen to Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
So that's how they learned about Guns N' Roses. AJ, every single morning, the time we leave here to the time of daycare, we just listen to Sweet Child of Mine on repeat. I'm starting to lose my mind a little bit after a week, but it's still a lot of fun still at this point. And then we were at the Mets game the other night, and I don't know if it was either Welcome to the Jungle. It might have been Welcome to the Jungle. And Sandy goes, Dad, Thor Love and Thunder, Thor Love and Thunder. So that's like Taika did a hell of a job introducing the next generation to some of the classics from my childhood and stuff like that. So shout out to him. But Thor Love and Thunder, I definitely think it's. Have you watched it since it came out on Disney Plus?
So I haven't, but I did see it a sneaky amount of times. I saw it 3 times in theater.
You're crazy.
Just like, but it wasn't because I was like, I love this movie so much, I have to go back. It was like I saw it at the screener with Jeff and Kenjack, and then my girlfriend wanted to see it, so I went on opening night, and then my nephew wanted to see it, so I went on his birthday. So it was all like, but every time I did enjoy it, and there was definitely something to seeing it with my nephew, seeing an 8-year-old enjoy it and laugh at all the jokes that made me enjoy it more and appreciate it more. So I think there's part of it that we both can relate to on that aspect of it.
I agree, and I enjoyed watching it with my kids as well, and it was definitely a different experience than when I saw it in the theater by myself. So they didn't get scared during the scary part. So anyone that hasn't watched with their kids yet, you might be all right. We kind of scared everyone straight with the review saying that the part when I like Heimdall's kid being named Axel, like that was a little heavy-handed. I said that
I thought that was funny. Yeah. The behind the scenes is very good on that as well. There's a behind the scenes documentary on Disney Plus called Assembled. It's like 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, and just on the making of Love and Thunder. It's worth checking out.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. We will talk to you guys next week for another She-Hulk review. If you're into Star Wars, we'll talk to you this week for an Andor review or House of the Dragon. That'll be this weekend. The basement is packed. We're spending a lot of time in the basement for you guys lately.
Rob, you gotta turn the lights off down there. You guys are running up the bill. It's you guys are in the basement way too.
You know what? Boom, turn the light off there.
There
we'll see you next week.